Welcome everyone to TEDxCopenhagen Future of Work livestream. My name is Caroline Hart-Seested and I'm happy to be back here at Matricle 1 for our seventh session, the acceleration of the non-standard job. We are talking with business experts and business leaders about how they see the future of work evolve. And today, talking about the non-standard jobs, it's exciting to see that more and more people are actually choosing to move away from the traditional ways of working, which has been disrupting the working patterns as we know them. Today, the gig economy statistics show a free work market system for freelancers, conductors, consultant, independent contractors and professionals, and temporary contract workers. If we look into the US workforce, we can actually see that a third of the workforce are actually participating in the gig economy, which is actually equivalent to 59 million Americans. And if we look into the future and look at the year 2027, it is actually estimated that that number is going to significantly rise. So by 2027, it's estimated that 86.5 million Americans will be working as freelancers, which is more than half of the workforce market in the US. And today I'm happy that we have a guest with us who will be a living proof of having a non-standard job, moving away from the traditional work as we know it. And the plan was actually to have two guests today, but unfortunately, Nicholas Blier Silvestri from Platypus had to cancel a late minute. So, but we are more than excited that the other guest is calling in from the Dominican Republic, and that is Mille Sjøgren, who is a freelancer, a voice artist at Millespeak. She's the founder of Free Living and Digital Nomad. She has 2 kids and is married to science journalist and writer Mille Sjøgren, and her and her family has been living as digital nomads since 2012. So she has traveled around the world with her family. Her kids are being online school, and they have actually lived and worked in more than 42 different countries. So that's quite significant. And I think it's the first time that we have a guest calling in all the way from the Dominican Republic. So let's see if Mille is here with us this evening, which is not evening at you. Hi, Mille. So good to see you.
Hi. Thank you for the really nice introduction, Caroline. No, it's only 2 o'clock here in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and we see a lot of sunlight coming in from your background, so that's lovely, and also to see a little bit of palms and green stuff going on. And Mille, you have been on some kind of big mission today, because you have tried the best you could to secure a good Wi-Fi connection. But you also said that there's no guarantee, so we don't know what's going to happen because you are at a place where Wi-Fi is a little bit on and off. So be patient if there's something with the connection. I'm sure it will come back to us fast.
Yes,
Mille,
that's the joy of being a digital nomad.
Exactly, you never know what you get, but so far the connection is good, and I'm eager to hear from you as a living proof on how it has been to work as a digital nomad for so many years, and what kind of made you take that decision back in 2012.
Yes, let's start there. Actually, Caroline, me and my husband, we were traveling to Bali for a vacation in early 2012. And it was some busy month for us. has been a freelancer at that time for 4 years, and my husband just started out. And so we actually took a decision to bring our computers, and I made a little studio, and the kids at that point, they were 2 and 4 years old. And we went backpacking there. And that was the first time we tried to work remotely. And of course, we didn't know what a digital nomad was at that point, but we tried it and it worked out really well. So back home in Copenhagen, a few months later, it was in May. It was a beautiful evening, and we were sitting outside our Copenhagen apartment on the staircase, having some vino, and the kids were asleep. And, you make good decisions when you drink wine. And that night, I remember it very clearly because we were talking about our life ambitions, and we were talking about how we in the future. Suddenly we could work from anywhere because we just done that, a few months ago. And my husband, he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Okay, babe, you want to move abroad?" And I was like, he asked me that question before, but that night I just remember everything was right. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we decided there on the staircase in front of our apartment that we were moving to Spain. We didn't know Spain at all. We didn't speak any Spanish, but we wanted to move there for 10 months. We wanted to have more light. We wanted to have more sun and more time as a family together. Yeah. And so now that I didn't stay there for only 10 months because we actually went on a life-changing adventure out in the world for over 6 years before we hit the Danish ground again.
Yeah, because what you told me the other day, for you it was not about choosing work, but it was more about choosing life and the lifestyle. So maybe you want to put some words on why was this so important to you?
I think for many people, when they think of being a digital nomad or becoming a digital nomad, is working as a digital nomad. But it has actually very little to do with working as a digital nomad. It has a lot to do with living as a digital nomad because it's a lifestyle that you choose. And I think that we have chosen this lifestyle because we want to have more in life than just work. And it's not, I really want to mention that it's not that I don't like my work or my husband doesn't like his work. We love our work. We're so fortunate to work with what we are passionate with. I'm a voiceover artist, as you said in the beginning, and I'm a freelance, and my husband is a writer. And we do love our jobs, but we don't want the jobs to define us only because there's so much more in life than just be. So that is why actually this lifestyle has become something that we really enjoy a lot.
Yeah. And maybe you can put a few words on, because I think that, people like me who are used to getting into the office early morning and having a lot of meetings and doing what is being expected of me by the company. And I look at you with the beautiful background and I think, how does your everyday work look like? I mean, what are you doing tomorrow? What did you do today? Just to give us some pictures on how do you structure that kind of living?
Yeah, I will do that. It's my son's birthday today, so it started a little untraditional this morning. Yeah, but a normal morning and a big issue when you are a digital nomad or you're traveling the world is always the time difference. So we are 6 hours behind you, as I said in the beginning. That means that when I wake up in the morning, I'm 6 hours behind. And that can be frustrating, right? Because your clients are awake at not the same time as you are. So I would like to wake up with yoga and go surfing, but in reality, it's not like that. In reality, I wake up on my phone going, oh my God, I should have asked that question 6 hours ago or something like that. But so I'm in my bed, answering emails. Then I get up like everybody else. I start working on my voiceover thing, or I'm having a meeting with my partner, Sille in Free Living, or I'm writing stuff like normal. I have a normal morning. I get the kids up, they have breakfast, then they go online with their teacher, or they find the apps that they have to use for their schoolwork. And then at 12 o'clock, we all closes down our computers. Nearly always, we have to close them down, and we do not work more than 4 or 5 hours per day. We go out on an adventure. So, for instance, now here in the Dominican Republic, we surf because that's what you do here. Last week, we were in Puerto Rico, and we lived in the jungle there, and we trekked through the jungle and in the waterfalls and in the rivers, and it was absolutely stunning. And the month before, we were in the United States, where we rented a van in the south of Alabama and in Tennessee and Georgia. And actually, I also do have jobs when I'm around the world. I was in a studio in Nashville, where I did a voiceover job for a client. And it was actually a studio where Dolly Parton has also done her singing recordings there. So it was a great experience. Yeah. And then in the afternoon, I met my family at a honky tonk in Broadway in Nashville. So you see, our days are very different from each other. And sometimes we're in the jungle with indigenous. Sometimes we do charity work in the favelas in Colombia. And sometimes we just surf. And of course, sometimes we just chill as well, because you can't have these experiences every day. But this is basically how our days is going.
And you make it sound so easy and without any worries or challenges. But I mean, are there some challenges or issues that you need to be aware of in choosing this way of working and this way of living? I'm also thinking, with kids and moving around all the time.
There's tons of challenging. It is actually, there's more than that. I mean, all the time you have Wi-Fi that is, going, or you come to a place. And now I can see they're actually building a house here next door, and there's noise. And I'm a voiceover artist. I can't have noise around me all the time, and so there's tons of challenging. Also, nature stuff. Tornadoes or earthquakes or whatever. It's just there all the time. You never know what you get. Yeah. And you need to be, prepared for the unpreparable, basically.
Yeah. And when you talk about the unpreparable or the uncertainty, I think that what we have experienced the last year with COVID-19 resulting in a mass shift towards remote working, do you think that the digital nomad phenomenon is set for continued expansion? Or will people, want to go back to work in the offices as they knew them before?
Okay, now I'm coming back.
Yeah. Did you hear my question, Mille?
Talking about the devil? No, talking about the devil.
Yes, exactly.
No, I did not hear it.
And you talked about uncertainty. And then the internet. Well, that was good timing. But talking about uncertainty. Mille, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Do you hear me?
Great. Yeah.
Good.
So I'm just talking about the you can say whole radical change that we have been through during the last year with the COVID-19 resulting in a mass shift towards remote working. Do you think that people working like you, digital nomads, that's a phenomenon that is set to continued expansion, maybe even more now? Or do you think that people will go back to work as they knew it before COVID-19?
No, they will not go back to before COVID-19. And yes, we will see more people choosing another lifestyle. And this is how I see it. The technology has been here for a very long time. I mean, the first digital nomad around US in 1982, his name was Steve Roberts. And so the technology has been here for a long time, but what has not been here is people's mindset on working remotely. And that, I think, is the key to the future of work, the mindset. And I would like to tell you a short little story, because I think it's kind of fun, because just before COVID hit and the whole world shut down, I was out doing a public speak in a company in Denmark where they had a very narrow-minded view on working remotely. And I was saying at that time that I believe that in the future, more people would work project-orientated. There will be more remote workers, and we would actually all work remotely and be freelancers in some way. And there was this guy, he got so angry at me, he yelled at me, and he left the building saying I didn't know anything about their kind of work and the company. 2 months later, the whole world shut down. Everyone, the lawyer, teacher, had learned the skills of working remotely. So people's mindset has changed like overnight on this working remotely, because they had to learn it on their own body. They had to learn the skill. So the whole world, this simultaneously overnight had the future come 10 years earlier than expected, not because of the technology, because it's here, right? We are on all kind of live Zoom stuff like that. It's been there for ages, but the mindset has changed in so many people's way of thinking. And I believe, therefore, we will see people choosing different lifestyles from now on, because they have realized, oh my God, I can work from anywhere. That's amazing. And I think we will see families, especially families actually, because it's hard to have small kids and stuff like that. And you have a 9 to 5 job and you don't have the flexibility. I believe that they will move out of the cities. I believe that they will take the possibilities of moving abroad for a while, or even being digital nomads, because they now know it's possible. So I really don't think that we will go back at all. And you also see the trend already, right? Many people are starting doing this.
Yeah, and I think that it's getting the free time to reflect has been definitely driving a lot of thoughts on the way people want to live. And there's also numbers saying that 40% of workers will most likely change their job within this year because of the COVID-19, and I think because of the examples that you're sharing now. What I also have reflected a little bit on since we talked about the last time was that this is not only changes in the work patterns, but I've also, you talked about, how cities and societies and governments are making it easier to be digital nomads. So maybe share a few examples. You had an example, I think, from Portugal to kind of embrace that way of working.
So right now, the tourists are not coming to any countries, right? But this is actually a trend that has been there before COVID, but it's just gone bigger during COVID, because the countries have to figure out, how do we get people to come here and actually spend some money? Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, as you mentioned, in Portugal, in Madeira, I think you pronounce it right, they have made this whole city a digital nomad city, where they actually help people and families to come there and settle. So there's a low tax. They help you to find co-working places. They help you to find a babysitter for your kids, a place to live, and help you with all this bureaucracy, basically. So you don't need to do it yourself, and it's easier. But many countries actually are trying to hand out free visas, so you don't have to go to other countries. They say you can have free vaccine, or you can have low tax for a year, because they actually want the digital nomads to come and work there and spend money there, because they have also figured out that we are a big value for the economy.
Yeah, and I think that when you share this with us, I think that a lot of the excuses for why people have not done it, there's actually kind of the same security that you would have if you stayed at a normal job in your own city, because there's the whole security network around you that is helping you with the formalities and visa and babysitting and stuff like that. Yeah. So with you, because you're kind of seen as a role model within this lifestyle, you have founded Free Living and Digital Nomad. Why have this become, you can say, a mission of yours to share this kind of living and working to other people?
Actually, it came to me one morning, Caroline. I was on my paddleboard in Spain. And, it was a beautiful morning. The water was totally blank and the sun was just rising. And I put my paddle in the water, and, this sound it's making, like choo, choo. And I just got this sense of, oh my God, what a crazy lifestyle we've created here. I mean, we work 4 hours a day. We make pretty good money. We live in a beautiful place where we can do tons of other stuff. We can be with our kids, and I can go paddle surf, or we can trek in the mountain. So I just felt like, I want to share this with people so they know it's actually a possibility for them too, to have a lifestyle like this. And so I started my podcast in Digitale Nomad, and I later on gave speeches about it, because I felt that I wanted to share it with people so they at least knew that this was a possible way of living and working. And what I also figured out, which is kind of funny, because I think it's not only making maybe people happier, have freedom and flexibility.
Can you hear us, Mille? You're breaking up a little bit. The good thing is that we still have the very nice green palms to look at. So let's see if Mille is able to reconnect, or she has to talk with the Wi-Fi guy at the place where they live. Let's see if we can do something here. It looks like she's paused, and let's see if she can come back or write in the chat. Just stay with us for a little bit, and hopefully she will be with us in a few seconds. We're just trying to connect with her, writing her a chat message in the system here. So let's see what she says. I can see that there is a message from her, so hopefully she will be able to join us in a second. So
I'm back.
please stay with us. And here she is back again. Yes, I had to do a little
changed
bit
the
of
internet.
back crawling.
Yeah, sorry. I
No
feel so
worries.
sorry, Caroline. I changed
No.
the internet connection. I see this is better.
Perfect. But
I know where.
Yeah,
I just want to finish
continue.
what I actually said. So I don't know
Go
where I lost you, but I just want to say that I think that people, if they have more time and they have a more flexible life, actually get happier. I also felt in my own body that I got more productive. I got more creative the way I lived my life, because I had so many new things that I had in my life, like new languages, new people, new way of living, that I was inspiring me to be more creative. And so I saw that I worked actually much quicker, and I was so productive. And that's what we do now. That's why we can work 4 hours a day and still have a damn good salary.
Yeah, because you also talked about, there are some economic benefits about moving around, that you actually can work less and still, you can say, have maintained the same living standards.
The thing is that many people are afraid of, is that what I see also in free living, right? They are afraid of the economy, and they're afraid of the uncertainness by living as a digital nomad or just moving from a 9-to-5 job. But actually, if you see the economy, you can actually, as a freelancer, earn a lot more money than you can in a job, in a normal regular job. And if you, for instance, like we have been doing, are moving to Spain, the expenses there are half the expenses that you will have in Denmark, but we still have a Danish income. So we didn't need to work that much. And actually, Christian, he could take 6 months off where he just was writing on his book while I was making the money, and we had enough. Yeah. And I think people don't think of that aspect because they think out of a Danish way of living, and that is really expensive, right?
Yeah. So the cost of living is significantly lower. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you move to Chiang Mai in Thailand, I mean, you can live for 4,000 Danish kroners there a month, right? Yeah. And so money is something, right?
Yeah. And now that you talk about, all the benefits and the great opportunities you have with this way of working and living, and looking in the light of the transformation that we have going through during the last year, if we kind of look or go back to the future and would want to design or think about how would the ideal post-COVID workforce or workplace look like, how should that be built, knowing what we have been through and the way you work?
I think that the companies that will thrive, have success in the future, will be the companies who truly will let their employees free. And with that, I mean, not all these rules. So I don't talk about having 1 day a week home where you can sit in your home office. No, I'm truly talking about letting them free. And with that, I mean that we stop counting hours. You don't need to have hours on your work. I mean, you can deliver your project or whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter how many hours you work on it, as long as it's good enough. Some people are really quick, some people are not. I mean, I would say stop the hours thing. And then I believe that trust is so important in the future. You need to trust your employees. And then the last thing, and then flexibility, of course. And then the last thing I will say is also that I think a skill in the future for everyone is to be able to lead yourself. So, I mean, you need to be able to lead yourself if you work remotely. You can't have someone putting all your stuff on your desk and say, do this, do that. No, you need to be able to lead yourself and work by yourself, basically. And but I will also say with that in mind, that I know everyone is different and people are different. It's not everybody who wants to work remotely, and it's not everybody who's more creative when they work remotely, and it's not all jobs that are creative. But and therefore I also think that a workplace should be a place where there's room for everyone.
Yeah,
So if you want to go in, go in. If you don't want to go in, don't go in. If you want to sit in Bali, sit in Bali. I think if we have that kind of flexibility in the future, I think we will. I believe that the talents will go to these companies that can do this.
Yeah, I was just talking with a person from Google earlier today, talking about the fact that people will not take the jobs where they are very restricted to a specific contract with the working hours and regulations on when you should be in the office and when you should not, and so I think that with those advices to the managers and leaders who should drive this change in the patterns of how we work, I want to end this interview by also getting your insights on, if you are a person sitting and listening in today, what the 3 best advices would you give? I mean, I know that the drinking 3 bottles of wine is always a good start, but how should you kind of kickstart, that transition in your working life, which can be nerve-wracking for a lot of people?
Actually, I don't want to give that advice. Don't drink 3 bottles of wine. Please don't. You know what? Advices are very difficult, but I want to ask you to ask yourself a question. I want to ask you, do you actually live after your own values? Because that is a very important question to ask yourself. Or do you live after the society's values, or your parents' values, or somebody else's values? Because if you don't live after your own values, I mean, then it's time to stop up and do it, right? And I believe if you want to become a digital nomad, or you want to change your life, or you want to be self-employed, or you want to work from abroad, or whatever it is that you like to do, you will have to set a date. That is my best advice, because when you set a date, you have made the decision, and everything from there will just be practical stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
So please set a date for this transition of yours, and then just work towards it. That is my absolutely best advice for you. Yeah. And I also know it works, because I see it in free living. And I will also let you know that now something is going on here, but I will also let you know that right now, it has never been easier to live as a digital nomad in the history before. So if that's something that you think would be fun things to do for a while, it is right now the best time in history. And my last advice for you is, I think it's time to choose a lifestyle first, and then build your work life around that lifestyle.
Yeah. That was some really, really great advices and reflection points for us to take with us. Mille, I want to say a big thank you for tuning in with us all the way from the Dominican Republic, and now is the time to go back and celebrate Vigfus's 14th. Is it 14th?
Yes,
birthday?
14.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say a big congratulations from the whole TEDx crew, and thank you so much for sharing your personal story. And I'm sure that a lot of people will be inspired to look that way and focus more on, not so much on how to live to work, and instead of maybe working to live and explore the best of life. So thank you so much for your time, Mille, and hope to see you soon. And with that, we are finalizing our 7th session. You can still watch the other sessions that we have recorded that are available at our TEDxCopenhagen YouTube channel. And of course, we want to say thanks to Matricle One for having our studio here. And a big thanks to the full TEDx team working hard on these events. And of course, our followers, thank you for joining in. And please make sure to join us again for our 8th session, which will take place on August 17. And it will be around the topic, is traditional education a dinosaur? And we will have some very exciting speakers for that event, looking into the education of the future. Have a nice rest of the day, and thank you so much for joining us. Bye.